Noel sat quietly inside the cold metal shuttle. The screen in front of him showed a blinking green dot, his own crypod still working. Outside the window, there was only darkness. Stars floated like tiny white sparks, but they felt far, silent, and lonely. Earth was gone. The last time Noel saw Earth, it was burning. Storms covered the skies. Oceans had swallowed entire cities, and countries were fighting for food and air. He remembered standing in line, holding a small card, his name on the list of those chosen for the final shuttle. A few scientists, engineers, and civilians were allowed. Noel was one of the lucky few. He wasn't special. He wasn't a soldier, a leader, or a genius, but he had worked in Earth's last engineering outpost, fixing water systems and power cells. Someone had thought he was useful. That was 200 years ago. Noel had been in cryosleep, frozen in time, alone. Now, he was awake. The shuttle's soft voice spoke in a calm tone. Arrival at unknown planetary system. Breathing atmosphere detected. Shuttle landing in 30 minutes. Noel didn't know whether to feel hope or fear. He sat up and looked outside. A planet came into view. It was blue, but not like Earth. This one had the sun shining on it, giving the skies a light purple hue. Green patches covered its surface like moss, and strange silver rivers cut through its lands. As the shuttle entered the atmosphere, everything shook. The screen flickered, and warning lights flashed, but the shuttle held together. When the ship finally landed, the doors opened with a soft hiss. Warm, sweet-smelling air rushed in. Noel stepped outside slowly. The sky was unlike anything he had ever seen. Soft lavender clouds and birds with glowing feathers flew above. Tall trees with silver leaves waved gently. A strange kind of music filled the air, like wind chimes and soft bells, though there was no one in sight. Then he saw them. 3 tall figures walked toward him. Their skin was pale violet, smooth like silk, and they had long silver hair. Their eyes were large and gentle, glowing faintly with a soft light. They wore long, flowing robes that shimmered like water. Noel raised his hands to show peace. He didn't know what to say. "I come in peace," he whispered. The tallest figure stepped forward and spoke in perfect English, though their voice felt like it was also inside his mind. "Welcome, traveler. We are the Villari. You are safe now." Noel blinked. "How do? You know my language?" The Villari smiled gently. "Your ship carried knowledge. We listened, learned. We have waited a long time for someone to come." Noel's legs felt weak. His body was still adjusting after cryosleep. The Villari offered support, and he didn't resist. They brought him to a crystal-like structure that stood tall among the trees. Inside, it was warm, full of soft light and strange glowing plants. There, he was given food, a kind of fruit that tasted like honey and water. He felt his strength returning. Later, a small group of Villari elders came to meet him. They sat around a round table made of living wood. One of them, a female elder with golden eyes, spoke gently. "You are the last of your kind to arrive here. We know what happened to your world. We have watched. We did not interfere, but we hoped one day someone would escape." Noel lowered his eyes. "Earth is gone. Everything gone." Silence followed. The Villari seemed to mourn with him, their soft lights dimming as if sharing his pain. After some time, the elder continued, "Our own world is not without loss. Many of our people have fallen. A sickness came many years ago. It changed us. It took away many lives, especially our males. Our race grows weaker." Noel looked up, confused. "I don't understand." The elder looked at him with kindness. "Your arrival is a sign. You are not just a survivor. You may help our kind live again." He tensed. "What do you mean?" A door opened, and 2 young Villari women entered. They looked like the others, but younger, taller than him, with graceful movements and soft glowing marks on their skin. Their eyes were curious, gentle, and calm. "These are twin sisters," the elders said. "Their names are Lyra and Nari. They have chosen to meet you, not as a duty but a hope. You may walk with them, talk with them, learn. They offer you friendship, and maybe, in time, a bond." Noel didn't know what to say. He felt like a stranger dropped in the middle of a story that wasn't his. The idea of helping repopulate a species felt too big, too strange. He stood up slowly. I don't know. I didn't come here to. The elder raised her hand softly. You are not being forced. We ask only this. Stay. Rest. Learn. Let time guide your path. Noel looked at the two sisters. Lyra's face was calm and warm. Nari's eyes sparkled with a mix of mischief and wonder. Neither looked afraid. Neither looked like they expected anything from him. Okay, Noel said quietly. I'll stay, for now. That night, he sat outside the crystal home, watching the twin moons rise over the forest. The stars above him were new, the ground. Beneath him was alien. But for the first time since Earth's fall, he didn't feel completely alone. Somewhere in the trees, the soft laughter of Nari echoed from a distance. Lyra stood silently under the moonlight, her eyes meeting his across. The field. Noel breathed deeply. A new chapter had begun. Noel woke to the soft sound of running water and strange birds singing in the trees. The bed he had slept on wasn't like anything from Earth. It was made of soft living vines that adjusted to his body. The room round him glowed faintly with a light that didn't come from bulbs but from the walls themselves. It was peaceful. He had slept deeply, more than he had in years. As he sat up, the door slid open quietly. Lyra entered, carrying a small tray with fruit, bread like roots, and a warm drink that smelled like herbs. She placed it gently beside him. You rested well? She asked in a soft voice. Noel nodded. Better than I expected. Thank you. She gave him a gentle smile. Her eyes were calm, like still water. Noel studied her for a moment. She moved with a kind of quiet grace, each step thoughtful. She didn't rush or speak more than needed. I'll let you eat, Lyra said, turning. To leave? No, Noel said quickly, then paused. You can stay, if you want. Lyra nodded once and sat down near the window. They both listened to the soft breeze passing through the trees. After breakfast, Nari arrived and come, she said, full of energy. The council wants to speak with you. Noel followed the sisters through winding paths covered in soft moss. The sun was bright but not hot. Flowers opened as they walked past, responding to their presence. At the council hall, the same Velari. Elders waited. They sat in a circle under a large tree with silver leaves. Noel was guided to sit in the center. The lead elder, the same woman from before, spoke gently. We are thankful you chose to stay. I still don't know what I can do here, Noel replied honestly. She nodded. Then allow us to explain fully. She reached out and touched a smooth stone in front of her. A soft light rose from it, showing images in the air. Noel watched as the pictures formed long ago. The Velari world had been full of life, families, communities, learning, and joy. Then a sickness came, a silent one. It only affected males. One by one, they began to weaken. Within a few generations, there were almost none left. We are not dying yet, the elder said, but we are fading. Noel's eyes remained on the image of a Velari village, once busy, now quiet. Our bodies are strong, our minds still sharp, but we lack what your kind brings: balance, variety, new energy. Our people believe that blending with others may restore us, but not with force, only with trust. Noel looked up, unsure. And the twins? Lyra and Nari? They volunteered. They were raised with stories of other stars, of distant travelers. When we learned humans once walked the stars, they wished to meet one, to learn, to connect. Noel turned slightly. Lyra stood quietly behind the council, her eyes soft. Nari stood beside her, arms crossed, but smiling. The elder continued, They do not offer themselves as gifts. We do not treat life that way. They offer a path, a chance, not to fix us in a single day, but to grow something new. Noel stood up slowly. This is Balad. I never thought I'd be needed like this. I was just an engineer. I wasn't even important back on Earth. You are important now. The elder said, You carry a seed of a lost world. That makes you more valuable than gold. Noel left the council with many thoughts. He didn't return to the guest home. Instead, he wandered into the forest, following a small path that led to a quiet lake. There, He sat on a smooth rock and looked into the water. Would he really agree to this? Be a part of a people he barely knew? He missed Earth, its sounds, its sky, its smell after rain. But Earth was gone, and these people, these gentle aliens, they had saved him. He heard footsteps behind him. Nari sat beside him, holding around. Fruit, you think too much, she said, handing it over. Noel took it with a small smile. I guess I do. You don't have to decide now. We just want to know you, learn from you, that's all. Is that really what you want? He asked. This isn't strange for you? Nari shrugged. Everything is strange. You think I've seen a human before, but strange doesn't mean bad. Noel laughed softly. Fair enough. They sat in silence for a while. Then Lyra joined them, walking barefoot across the stones. We don't expect anything from you, she said, her voice barely above the sound of wind. But we do hope, not just for children or survival, but for friendship. Noel looked at them both, twin sisters, each so different, one calm and still, the other lively and curious, but both full of a quiet kindness he had rarely seen among his own people. He stood up slowly. I don't know where this will go, but I can start with that friendship. Lyra smiled softly. Nari grinned. That evening, the three of them walked back to the village together. The stars above began to glow. This sky, this place, it was no longer just strange. It was becoming something more, a place of beginnings. The days passed gently on Varen, and Noel began to feel something new. Peace. There were no cities here, no machines making loud noises, no news reports filled with fear. The Villari lived close to nature, building homes from living trees, singing songs to the sky, and treating each other with soft words and open hands. Noel stayed in a home grown especially for him. Its walls were made of vines and crystal glass. The ceiling opened at night so he could sleep under the stars. Every morning, he would wake to the sound of soft music carried by the wind. And every day, Lyra and Nari were there. Lyra taught him slowly. She believed in silence, in learning through watching and feeling. Noel often walked beside her through the forest. She showed him how the trees glowed slightly when touched with kindness. She let him place his hand in the river's flow and feel the energy in the water. One afternoon, she brought him to a place called the Echo Field, a wide space where sound carried for miles. Flowers here responded to voices. When Lyra sang softly, the petals opened like they were listening. Noel tried speaking, and the flowers opened too. They remember kindness, Lyra said, and they remember fear. So we teach our children to speak with care. Noel nodded. Earth never had flowers like this. Maybe Earth had something else, she said, gently, something worth sharing. With Nari, the days were louder. She was curious about everything: how humans walked, how they laughed, what they ate, and what they built. She would sit with Noel for hours asking about Earth machines, old cities, and music. One morning, she found a small device from Noel's bag, a music cube that had survived the journey. What is this? She asked. Noel smiled. Press here. He clicked the cube, and soft music filled the air. A gentle song, old and simple, play one that reminded him of childhood. Nari's eyes widened. She swayed to the rhythm. It speaks without words, she whispered. That's what music is, Noel replied, a voice without a mouth. After that, Nari wanted to learn Earth songs. Noel taught her simple ones. She would hum them as they walked, mixing the tunes with Villari rhythms. They even made new music together, half Earth, half Varen. One evening, the three of them sat on a hillside watching the twin moons rise. Lyra sat close, quietly weaving a bracelet from moon thread vines. Nari lay on the grass, her hands behind her head, humming. Noel looked at them and said, You two are nothing alike. Nari laughed. We get that a lot. Lyra smiled softly. We are like night and morning. Not the same, but both needed. Noel nodded. You balance each other. Lyra looked at him with calm eyes. And maybe, now, you are part of that balance. Over time, Noel started helping the Villari in small ways. He repaired old tools using his engineering skills. He shared ideas about war systems from Earth. showing how to store more during the dry season. In return, the Velari taught him how to use their natural crystals to carry energy not by force, but by harmony. He learned how to make food from roots he couldn't name. He even planted his first tree on Varen. They call it a unity tree, a sign of connection between visitors and the Vlari. As days passed, the people of the village began to greet Noel not as a guest, but as one of their own. One day, Nari asked Noel to come with her to the Glow Caves. They walked through narrow paths until they reached an opening in a cliff. Inside, the walls shimmered with soft blue light. Strange glowing insects floated gently like stars. "What is this place?" Noel asked, amazed. "This is where Velari come when they need to understand their feelings," Nari said, her voice quieter than usual. They sat in silence. Then she turned to him. "Do you miss Earth?" Noel paused. "I do. I miss the sky I grew up under. I miss my mother's voice. I miss the smell of rain." "Will you ever leave us?" she asked. He looked at her gently. "I don't know. I never thought I'd stay. But now, I don't feel lost anymore." Nari smiled, but her eyes were soft. "We're glad you're here." Later that week, Lyra invited Noel to the river for a Velari tradition. It was called Water Memory. It was a silent ceremony where people placed small stones into the river, each one holding a memory. Lyra handed him a smooth, light blue stone. "Think of a memory," she said, "good or bad, and let the river carry it." Noel held the stone in his hand and closed his eyes. He remembered Earth, his parents, the noise of the last city, the cryo chamber closing. Then he remembered waking up here. Lyra's calm voice, Nari's laughter, the feeling of peace. He placed the stone in the water. It floated for a moment, then gently sank. The water shimmered. Softly. Lyra placed her own stone. They didn't speak after. They didn't need to. By the end of the month, Noel no longer counted the days. He no longer woke wondering when he'd return to Earth. Instead, he woke wondering what he would learn today, or what Nari had discovered, or what story Lyra would share during a quiet walk. He didn't fully understand how he had changed, but something inside him had shifted from stranger to belonging. The air was peaceful in Shaylin Grove, and Noel had almost forgotten what fear felt like. It had been over 2 months since his arrival on Varen. Each day passed with quiet beauty, soft skies, the scent of flowering trees, gentle voices, and the warmth of two sisters who had become more than companions. Lyra and Nari were now part of his every day. But peace doesn't always last forever. One morning, as the suns rose over the forest hills, a strange sound broke the silence. It was low at first, like a distant hum, but soon it grew louder, sharper. Mechanical. Noel stood outside his home, eyes scanning the sky. It wasn't a sound made by Velari creatures or their soft crystal machines. Then he saw it. A small metal ship, old, rusted, and shaking, broke through the purple clouds, heading fast toward the forest edge. Smoke trailed behind it. It wasn't Velari. It was human. Within an hour, a fire team was formed. The Velari were peaceful, but they had ways to protect themselves. Noel asked to go with them. "Are you sure?" Lyra asked. "It could be dangerous." "They might be like me," Noel said. "Or worse," Nari added. "If they are from Earth and still flying, they might not be the kind we want here." Noel nodded. "That's why I have to go." They reached the crash site by mid-afternoon. The ship had slammed into the side of a hill. Its metal body was twisted, black with smoke. The crash had burned several trees, and ash floated in the air. From behind a large boulder, Noel and two Velari guards watched. The ship's door was open. 4 humans were outside, dressed in patched armor. They were checking gear, dragging broken crates, and laughing. Noel's heart sank. He had seen people like them before on Earth's scavengers. Those who took what they could and cared for nothing else. "They don't look like peace seekers," whispered one of the Vlari. Noel agreed. Suddenly, one of the scavengers shouted, pointing towards something. A Velari scout had been spotted. Without warning, 2 of the humans raised stun rifles. "No!" Noel shouted and jumped from behind the rock. "Don't shoot!" The scavengers turned their weapons on him. For a moment, there was confusion. Then one of them recognized him, Noel Flynn, from Station 12. It was a man named Rag. Noel remembered him. He worked in the outer repair bay back on Earth. He had been tough, loud, and never kind. I thought you didn't make it, Rag said, walking closer. What is this place? You live here. Noel kept his distance. Yes, these people saved me. Rag laughed. You've gone soft. What are you doing with these aliens? Farming berries and dancing under trees. They're not just aliens. They're people. Better than most of what we were back home. Another scavenger stepped forward, a woman with sharp eyes. So, what do they have? Energy sources. Healing tech, breeding labs. Noel's eyes narrowed. You're not here to ask questions. You're here to take. Rag raised his rifle. Slightly. Look, Noel, let's be real. Earth's gone. It's survival now. We find tech, trade it. Stay alive. You think they'll survive without help? We can make deals. Strong ones. Noel stepped back. You need to leave. Now. Before this becomes something it doesn't need to be. Behind him, the Villari guards appeared. Their eyes glowed faintly, and soft light formed around their hands non-lethal shields. But powerful. Rag and his team raised their weapons. The air froze. Noel stepped between them. Don't. I won't let you harm them. You pick. Them over us, Rag asked, his voice angry. I already did. Noel answered. Silence. Then. Without a word, Rag lowered his weapon and spat on the ground. You're not one of us anymore. He turned, signaling his group. Let's go. Nothing here but soft hearts and singing trees. The humans returned to their broken ship. Within the hour, the engines fired again. The ship lifted shakily into the air and vanished into the sky. Noel and the Villari walked back slowly. No one spoke much. When they reached the village, Lyra and Nari ran to meet him. You're safe, Lyra said, placing her hand gently on his arm. Nari looked into his eyes. What happened? They were scavengers, Noel said. They didn't want peace, only power. Lyra lowered her eyes. That is what we feared. Nari asked. Did you know them? Yes, he said quietly, from the old world. The village elders called for a small gathering that night. Lanterns floated in the air, and everyone sat in a large circle. Noel was invited to speak. He stood in the center, his voice steady but heavy. There are still humans out there, broken, afraid, and dangerous. I once hoped Earth could be saved, but now I see that salvation isn't a planet. It's the people you choose to stand beside. He looked at Lyra and Nari. These people chose me, not for what I could give but for who I could become. I'll protect them with everything I have. There was a long silence. Then the elder stood and placed her hand on Noel's shoulder. Trust is not easy to give, she said, but you have earned it. That night, Noel sat by the river. The stars above were quiet, and the water whispered. Gently. Lyra sat beside him. You could have left with them. I thought about it, Noel admitted, for a moment. But then I remember the first day I woke here. The sky, the calm, your voice. Nari appeared on the other side, tossing a pebble into the water. We're not perfect, she said, but we don't want to take. We want to build. Noel smiled. Then let's build something the stars will remember. And under the light of the moons, a quiet bond grew stronger, not just between a man and two sisters, but between two worlds learning how to hope again. The days after the scavengers left were quiet again, but the feeling in the air had changed. The Villari village was still beautiful, still peaceful, but now there was also a silent understanding between the people and Noel. He had stood up for them. He had chosen them, even when faced with others from his own world. For the first time, the Villari saw Noel not just as a guest, but as one of their own. Noel spent more time with Lyra and Nari. Lyra's walks became longer. She started bringing him to places deeper in the forest-hidden clearings, glowing gardens, and quiet springs. She spoke more now, sharing stories from Villari history. She once brought him to a small hill where a single blue blossom tree stood. Its petals floated around them like falling stars. This was where I last stood with my first bondmate, she said softly. He passed during the sickness. This is my memory place. Noel looked at her with quiet respect. I'm sorry, he said. Lyra shook her head gently. His memory lives in the light. And now, this place is not only about endings. It's about beginnings too. She handed Noel a small blossom. For you, a new memory. Meanwhile, Nari had turned her energy toward learning about Earth machines. Noel had opened a part of his old shuttle and shown her the basic tools inside simple scanners. A solar charger, a broken communicator. Nari was fascinated. What did this do? She asked, holding a melted chip. Not much anymore, Noel said with a laugh. They started building small things together. A water spinner, a heat sensor, and even a light crystal powered by sun energy. Nari loved it. You and I, she said, are like the old world and the new world working together. Noel smiled. Then let's keep building. One evening, as orange and purple clouds filled the sky, the village gathered near the river. Small lanterns floated on the water, each carrying light and a wish. It was a special Velari ceremony called the Joining Light, a moment where two lives could choose to bond in spirit and path. Not a promise of family or future children, but a deeper commitment of trust, care, and belonging. Noel stood near the water with Lyra and Nari. The elder approached him. You have walked among us with respect. You have shared pain, laughter, and protection. Have you chosen your place among us? Noel nodded. I have. This is my home now. The elder turned to Lyra and Nari. You both came forward by your own hearts. Do you still walk this path? Lyra stepped forward. Yes. He has helped me heal. Nari grinned. Yes. He makes me laugh again. Then, all three held a single floating lantern. Noel whispered a quiet word, remembering Earth, his past, and all that brought him here together. They placed the lantern into the water. It floated calmly, then glowed brightly. Shining with soft golden light, the villagers clapped and sang softly. The light was a sign that the bond was real, not forced, not for duty, but by choice. After the ceremony, Noel sat under a tree, watching the moons reflect on the river. Lyra joined him, her bracelet of moon thread vines glowing gently on her wrist. You're not afraid anymore, she said. Noel nodded. For a long time. I thought Earth was my only home, but I've learned something here. Lyra looked at him with quiet curiosity. What did you learn? That home isn't just a place, he said. It's people, it's moments, it's peace. Nari came running up, carrying a glowing fruit. Guess what? She said. Breathless, I grew. This birthed seeds, Velari soil. She handed it to Noel. He took a bite and laughed. It's sweet. I call it a Nari pop. She said proudly. They all laughed. Over the next few weeks, the village began changing. Noel and the sisters worked with the elders to build a new archival learning center filled with both Earth knowledge and Velari history. Noel wrote down stories, drew diagrams, and even recorded his voice telling tales from Earth's past. Children came often, sitting around him, listening with wide eyes. One day, a young Velari girl asked him, were humans always kind? Noel paused, then answered honestly, not always, but they could learn, just like I did. One morning, as soft rain fell over the trees, Noel found Lyra standing at the edge of the village. Watching the horizon, everything feels full now, she said. Noel stood beside her. Because we've started something, not just for us but for those who will come after. She looked at him. Do you ever wish things had happened differently? That Earth was still alive. Yes, Noel said. But I also know that if Earth hadn't ended, I would never have met you. Lyra smiled, and the rain stopped. A soft breeze passed between them. Later, Nari placed a small stone in Noel's hand. What's this? He asked. A reminder, she said, of how things grow, even in strange soil. On the stone, a tiny plant had begun to sprout, half earth seed, half Velari vine. The healing wasn't fast, it wasn't loud, but it was real. Noel still missed Earth sometimes. But the grief no longer crushed him. It had softened, changed, and blended into the life he was now part of. In the end, he hadn't just found two sisters or a peaceful world. He had found himself again. Morning light spilled through the trees of Shailen Grove, painting the leaves in soft gold. Birds with shimmering wings sang gently from the branches. The village was waking, not with alarms or machines, but with the quiet rhythm of life. Noel stood outside the new archive, a building made of crystal stone and living wood. Its round roof curved like the petals of a flower, and vines grew up its sides, glowing slightly with stored light. He wiped his hands on his shirt and smiled. After many weeks of work, the archive was complete. Inside were books, scrolls, and memory crystals, all filled with stories from both Earth and Varan. There were drawings of machines, instructions for water filters, songs from two worlds, and even children's stories Noel remembered from his childhood. A new chapter of history had begun. Noel stepped into the archive and found Lyra arranging a few scrolls on a shelf. "You're up early," he said. She looked over her shoulder and smiled. "Knowledge doesn't sleep," he chuckled. "Sounds like something a teacher would say." "I suppose I've become one," Lyra said. "These scrolls are about Earth languages. The young ones want to learn how to say hello in every Earth tongue. I barely remember all of them," Noel admitted. "That's why you're helping me," Lyra replied gently. In another part of the village, Nari was knee-deep in soil, pulling up long green stalks. She had started her own garden, combining earth seeds with Velari roots. Some plants looked familiar like sunflowers and tomatoes, while others were completely new, glowing slightly or shifting color in the light. A small group of children watched her work with excitement. "Can we taste the orange one?" a boy asked. "Not yet," Nari warned with a grin. "Last time, it made your tongue sparkle." The children giggled. Noel arrived just in time to see a tiny plant suddenly wiggle out of the ground and run toward his foot. Is that supposed to happen?" he asked. Nari shrugged. "Earth plant, Velari soil. They're learning to move." Noel laughed and picked up the little sprout. "Maybe we should call it a walk root." "Perfect name," Nari said proudly. Back at the central hall, the elders had gathered. Noel was invited to speak. An elder named Rima, tall and wise, looked at him kindly. "You have changed much in your time here," she said. "And so have we. We are becoming something new," another elder added. "Not just Velari, not just human, something in between. A shared path." Noel nodded. "That's what the archive is for, so no one forgets where we came from and where we're going." The elders smiled in agreement. Later that day, as the sun hung low in the sky, a small ceremony took place in the village. It was quiet and simple. No grand stage, just laughter, food, and shared memories. This was the welcome day of celebration. To honor the joining of Earth and Velari ways, children sang songs from both languages. Nari played a new tune using Earth rhythm and Velari crystals. Lyra told a story about how light can live in even the darkest sky. Noel stood beside them, watching the scene. His heart felt full. A small girl walked up and handed him a drawing. It showed three figures standing under the suns: Noel, Lyra, and Nari. Above them were stars and a tree growing from both Earth and Velari roots. "It's us," the girl said proudly. Noel bent down. "It's beautiful. Thank you." In the weeks that followed, news spread across Varen. Other Velari villages sent messengers. Some carried small gifts, books, crystals, and ancient art. Others came with questions. Some even asked if more humans would come. Noel met with the council and shared a simple message: if there are others out there lost, alone, we will welcome them, but only if they come in peace. The Velari agreed. "We must build bridges," Lyra said, "not walls." One quiet evening, Noel sat on the hillside with the sisters, watching the stars rise. The sky was clear, and the moons reflected. Off the river below, fireflies danced in the air. "Do you think more people will come?" Nari asked. "Maybe," Noel said. "I hope so. No one should stay alone in space forever," Lyra added. "And when they come, they'll see what we've made. A new start." Noel nodded slowly. "A home made by kindness." They sat in silence for a while, listening to the wind through the trees. Then Nari looked at the sky. "We should name the stars." "They already have names," Noel replied. but we can give them new ones, she said with a wink. Earth names, Velari names, both. Lyra smiled. Then let's begin. And so they did. As time passed, the archive grew. Not just in books, but in hope. It became a place where Earth and Varen met, not with weapons, but with words. People came to learn, to share, and to remember. The children who once asked simple questions now spoke both languages and dreamed of the stars. And in the center of it all was a quiet message written by Noel on the first wall of the archive. We are not the end of Earth. We are its beginning again. One early morning, a new message came through the old shuttle signal receiver. A faint voice. Human, we're survivors. We seek peace. Is anyone out there? Noel listened. Heart pounding. He turned to the sisters. We're not alone. Lyra placed her hand on his. Nari grinned. Then it's time to grow the village. The sky above Shalen Grove was filled with bright stars. Two moons hung low, casting soft silver light over the village. A gentle breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers and the quiet hum of life. Noel stood on the hilltop, watching as small lights flickered in the distance, lanterns floating gently above the trees. Tonight was special. It was the night when the first new rivals would come to Varen. After months of waiting, the message from distant survivors had reached them. Humans like Noel, those who had escaped Earth's destruction, searching for a home, for peace. Inside the new archive, Lyra and Nari were preparing. Scrolls and books were carefully placed on tables. Food was being arranged. Children helped by making decorations of woven vines and glowing crystals. Noel watched them, feeling a quiet pride. We're ready, Lyra said softly, turning to him. Are you nervous? Nari asked with a teasing smile. No, Noel said. Firmly, I'm hopeful. They stood together under the large tree where the village gathered for important moments. The unity tree had grown tall and wide, its branches full of leaves from both Velari and Earth seeds. Hours later, a small ship appeared on the horizon. It moved slowly, its engine shining like distant stars. Noel's heart beat faster. The ship landed softly near the village, and a group of humans stepped out. They were different from the scavengers who had come before. Their faces showed relief and curiosity. They looked tired but kind. Some carried small bags. Others held children by the hand. Noel stepped forward to greet them. Welcome to Varen, he said. You are safe here. The newcomers smiled, some with tears in their eyes. One of them, a woman named Mira, stepped closer. We heard your message, she said. We have been searching for this place for years. Noel nodded. You are not alone anymore. The village opened its arms to the new rivals. The Velari shared food, stories, and songs. The humans showed their tools, shared memories of Earth, and spoke of hope. Children played together, learning new words and games. Noel introduced Mira to Lyra and Nari. We have much to learn. Mira said, yes, Noel agreed. But together, we can build a future. Days turned into weeks. The new community grew. Noel and the sisters worked with both Velari and humans to create farms, repair the old shuttle, and expand the archive. Lyra taught Earth languages. Nari helped with gardens and medicine. Noel rebuilt old machines and shared stories. Together, they built more than just buildings, they built trust. One clear night, Noel stood by the river with Mira. They watched the stars reflect on the water. Do you think Earth would be proud? Mira asked. Noel smiled softly. I think Earth would be glad we didn't give up. Mira nodded. We carried spirit with us. Under the twin moons, the village gathered again. This time, it was to celebrate new beginnings, a festival of hope, life, and unity. People danced and sang songs from two worlds. Lanterns floated on the river, carrying wishes for the future. Noel looked at Lyra and Nari. We started this, he said quietly. Lyra smiled, but it will continue long after. Nari laughed. The stars will remember. As the festival ended, Noel stood alone for a moment. He looked up at the vast sky. He thought of Earth, the home he lost, and of Varen, the home he had found. His heart was full. For the first time in a long time, Noel felt truly at peace.